Hello, folks, and welcome to this tornado outbreak short summary. Both my microphone software and my recording software updated, so I do hope that nothing is impacting the voice quality or um, volume. So I'm just gonna roll with it because I haven't checked yet. So this is the June 2nd through 3rd of 1990 tornado outbreak. Yeah, this one is not as prolific as other events that I might have talked about, but it's also not the smallest one I've talked about either. Um, in this video, I hope to, of course, show you how and why this outbreak is notable. First and foremost, it is relatively notable in the fact that it had very poor records, especially for the shorter track tornadoes. We're essentially almost going 20 years in the past, if not even more so, with how these tornadoes are recorded. A lot of times, take the 74 super outbreak, for example. That outbreak will actually come up again, spoiler alert. There are many of the lesser tornadoes that aren't talked about that are just damaged an outbuilding or two, farm gone, and then that's it. There's this is essentially what's happening here, even with some of these shorter track F4s. By the way, there were quite a bit. But this event would happen around the Great Plains area, Ohio, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, mainly in Indiana, as we can see here, from a unusually strong low pressure for the time of the year that it is, being June. In fact, a high risk would be issued for the area, and keep in mind there is no moderate at the time. There is only slight, marginal, and high, if I'm not mistaken. I think that the five the 5 point system that we know of now is as it is back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So what? Wow, that's gonna be a decade. That's crazy. Anyways, the 5 point system was not in place here. Instead, it was just a higher. You will see a lot more high risks issued as you go further back in time. They'll also be bigger too. This event would also cause two PDS tornado warnings. PDS meaning particularly dangerous situation tornado warnings. Both of those are seen here with these parallelograms. In total, 66 confirmed tornadoes happened, with 7 of them being violent, all F4. This event would, despite the number of tornadoes and despite more than 10% of them being violent, only cause 9 deaths and 253 injuries. However, this is still very tragic, as no deaths would be optimal, and even one death is one too many. That being said, we are going to be only looking at 3 notables here, unfortunately, as why are you on my dress? Oh my lord, my cats. Sorry. Our first notable went from the north of Aden, I'm going to call that Aden, Illinois, to Huron, Indiana. This F4 in the photo that we at least have of it has a pretty pronounced wall cloud and is definitely a short cone there, stovepipe even. Had a very long track of 171 kilometers at an unknown maximum width. This tornado would kill 1, injure 11, and cause at least $10 million in damage. This tornado would strike the communities of Barnhill, Albion, and Browns, where it would destroy more than 40 homes, damaging so many more. The tornado, however, thankfully spared Hazleton, Petersburg, and Huron, Indiana, with the tornado dissipating just after Huron. Also in F4, this tornado went from the west of Union, Indiana to Alford, Indiana, where I couldn't really find a track for this tornado, unfortunately, but we do know that it killed 6 and injured 60. This tornado would destroy one home and move another, presumably very close to this destroyed one, completely off of its foundation, or at least partially. In the town of Petersburg, where a direct hit would happen to the town, it destroyed a nursing home, multiple apartment complexes, total of around 170 individual homes as well as the elementary school. All in all, half of the town of Petersburg would be destroyed. Our last one went from the west of Bright, Indiana to the southwest of Mason, Ohio. Once again, an F4. This tornado caused 37 injuries, and although I don't have a path length for you, unfortunately, we at least know that it was a violent nighttime tornado. The only two things that really could have made this thing worse would it being rain wrapped, which it was not. The rain wrapping of a tornado at night prevents this thing from being illuminated by lightning at all. It's the one time where lightning is a good thing. And also, if it cut power to sirens, which as far as we know, it also did not do. Cat, I swear, if you turn my monitor off, I'm going to be upset. A total of 50 homes would be destroyed in Indiana from this tornado, where F4 damage would also occur in Harrison, Ohio, and New Baltimore, Ohio. Both of these towns would be around half destroyed. In fact, some homes from the, say, from these communities, were almost completely swept clean of any debris. Their foundations were just swept up nice and tidy. So, I mean, yeah, sure, a large number of violence is, 7, that's a fair bit, especially in just 2 days. However, we had 30 in 1974. Of course, that one's an outlier, but this event is most notable for having the record for the number of tornadoes in 24 hours in Indiana. This record was previously held by, lo and behold, the 1974 super outbreak. If I'm not mistaken, Indiana saw 36 tornadoes, and the 74 outbreak, I think, was 23. I'm not confident in either one of those numbers. Sorry about that. I forgot to double check. Also, very notable is that if we cut a line from Terre Haute or Terre Haute, as some people I bet you probably say, to Indianapolis to Muncie, cut a line right through there, we see that the northern cells were, of course, cyclic, as we can see, but also produced weaker tornadoes to the other cyclic cells to the south of there, which there is a fair bit of distance in between these two, so really they shouldn't be interacting as much, but these cells to the south possibly did inhibit the amount of energy available to these storms up further north. That is absolutely possible, and I will not rule that out. I just find that very interesting as, say, take the 74 super outbreak again, for example, where we saw violent tornadoes from Kentucky to Alabama. That is a very large distance, and here we see a very short distance with all the violence happening in a more secluded spot, so that is very interesting. Also note that our second notable is actually the deadliest, and I believe it still remains the deadliest tornado in recorded Indianian history since the 1974 super outbreak. I hope that I've showed you all how this event is indeed notable, despite it possibly being overlooked, which is really my main goal with everything, is to not only for myself to learn more, but also for others to learn more. And I certainly hope that y'all did. And I enjoyed researching this one for sure. Very, very interesting case. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Also, all of my sources will be in the description.